Imagine the moon as a pale rim at the edge of the sky, like a hand resting against dark silk. It is a slow, unquestioning shape, cool at the fingers, steady at the wrist, and it has come to visit every night as if by promise. This is the smallest of assurances, the sort that requires no noise and asks for no answer, a light that leans in, a hush that gathers around ordinary things. In that quiet, a gentle presence moves, not hurried, not insistent, drawing her light into small, inevitable gestures. That presence is Selene. She carries her silver with the care of someone folding a thin, beloved cloth. Each night she takes it up, smooths it with breath, and lets it fall again over the sleeping world. She does not arrive like thunder or proclamation. She arrives the way tides arrive, patient, inexorable, with a rhythm that has time on its side. First, a tilt of brightness, a slight sea of gray that edges down the horizon. Then a soft widening, like the spreading of a palm. The stars watch and remain where they are. The sea listens, and in its listening, it sets a steady cadence. On the land, the roofs and trees become subjects under a new ruler of light. On the water, a thin road of silver unrolls, a map for those who do not move. She returns in the same manner each night, and because of that sameness, she is recognized. Imagine for a moment the small domesticities that come with returning, the quiet rehearsals that make a face familiar. Selene gathers her light in the same way, a fingered sweep along the rim of the sky, a patient breath that cools the air, a slow lowering that finds its place above a certain hill or a particular stretch of sea. She repeats these small acts, and in doing so, teaches the world how to receive her. The waves learn to answer with a soft hush. The trees learn to soften their leaves. Even the towns below turn their noise inward, as if listening for a lullaby. Habit becomes a kind of language. The repeated things are the things that make recognition possible. If you like this kind of gentle retelling, consider subscribing for more bedtime myths that move at this pace. There is, beneath Selene's quiet orbit, a particular place she visits more tenderly than others. Some tell the story with a name, Endymion, though the truth of the tale is less a headline than a habit. Each night she chooses a point on the earth where her silver will pool and press, the way light presses when it finds a hand. And there, below, someone lies and comes to know the smallest motions that mean she has come. He does not wake with announcements. He wakes, if he wakes at all, to the softer grammar of that light. The angle that rests on the cheekbone, the coolness that rides the breath, the way the shadows soften where the rib cage begins. Over nights, he stores these movements in the body. He learns to recognize the moon by the way the air tastes around it, by the sound the tide makes when it notices her approach. Selene's approach is a sequence that repeats and, by repeating, teaches trust. She tilts. She lightens. She lays her silver along the contours of the world as if tracing a map of bones and water. Sometimes she lingers at the edges of cliffs, letting her light tremble on the brink. Sometimes she allows a bright thread to cross a sleeping field, letting it stitch the pattern of the night into that particular place. There are gestures that might seem incidental if you watch them once, but when watched every night they become a vocabulary. The same way a child recognizes a parent's step by sound alone, the sleeper recognizes the moon's footfall by its softness, and by the tiny insistence at the corners of things. Listen to the world that keeps her company. The sea holds its breath in measured pulls. Reeds and grasses whisper against one another like pages turned slowly. Animals that belong to the dark make the small, practical noises of living. A breath, a rustle, a soft shift of weight. Above, stars hold steady, making the hub around which Selene can move. All of it participates in ritual, not because it chooses to, but because the night asks only that it be known and responded to. Ritual is not a ceremony of spectacle here. It is a mutual remembering. She comes the same way, every night, and in the repetition the body below learns what to expect. There is a particular night, tender and ordinary, that helps to explain how this recognition feels in the body. Imagine wind that has forgotten to hurry, merely moving its fingers through the grasses. A sleeper lifts, not in startled wakefulness, but in a small habitual shift. A roll to one side, an unwrapping of limbs that have stored the day like a cloak. Selene lowers a thin veil of light, and it falls like an attentive palm across the forehead, across the line of a cheek, tracing the jaw as if following a memory. Where the light rests, the skin cools by degrees. Muscles that had been rigid in the dark begin to soften, as though the light has permission to ease them. Breath lengthens. Fingers uncurl. The sleeper's eyelids, long used to the pattern, become heavier and heavier with recognition until they close again, this time willingly. That tiny scene is the essence of their meeting, a ritual without words in which attention itself is the language. Selene does not leap into the world with grand gestures. She attends in the way a careful hand attends. Her watching is not a bright glare, but a patient folding back. She moves close enough to be felt and distant enough to allow space. Within that measure, the sleeper's body records the information. This is the night. This is what arrives. This is what loosens the shoulders. Over time, the archive of these small acts becomes a store of safety. A body can remember the difference between instruction and ceremony. The moon teaches by ceremony. The textures of that teaching are particular. Moonlight feels different from other lights. It has the quality of a cool cloth laid on skin, or of breath that has been held only to be released slowly. It is not warm. It is not meant to be heat. It sculpts rather than fills. Imagine light that knows where to rest so that pressure becomes an invitation rather than an imposition. Selene's beams move like fingertips tracing the outline of a figure in the dark, filling the negative spaces with silver, so the sleeper's self can be recognized not by sight, but by the map of shading and the rhythm of breath. The sound that accompanies it is quiet. A tide folding over itself, a distant bell of something small and reliable. These sounds join to make a lullaby without words. There is a tenderness that is not sentimental but exact. You can see it in the way the moon pauses at particular thresholds, the lip of a window, the curve of a hand, the slope of a cheek. Those small hesitations are gifts. She learns the geography of the beloved's features as a cartographer learns the contour of a coastline. By patient surveying, by returning again and again, by marking what needs to be noticed. Over the weeks and years of this ritual, the beloved's body becomes an atlas to be read by light. Selene knows where the heart sits under the ribs. She knows the hollow beneath the collarbone where shadows like to gather. Knowing is not possession here. It is care. Recognition between them is not the quick flash of a sudden reunion, but a slow opening. It is made of gestures, the way the sleeper's chest gives without attending, the unclenching of a fist that has held on to day-long tension, the small involuntary sigh that sounds like a fold being released. Selene's light finds the points where the body can let go and lingers there. The sleeper does not speak. Often there is no speaking. His response is a shape, a longer exhalation, a warmed place of skin that remembers a touch it prefers, a muscle that loosens as if admitting a friend. There is intimacy in these recognitions because they happen beneath the language of thought, in the region of the body that does not argue. These nightly acts are observed by the rest of the world, but not judged by it. Trees keep their leaves, waves keep their pace. A few late birds find softer branches. The town, if there is one, compacts its small noises, shutters close, lamps are lowered, and the ordinary mechanics of life slow to accord with the moon's patient program. In the hush that follows, even the most restless thing in the house has room to align. The rhythm of the night asks nothing of hurry. Instead, it offers a model. Return, repeat, soften. It is a resolution that comes not by force but by the pressure of consistency. It is worth noting how little spectacle is required to create this depth. Grand events burn fast and leave little room for continued presence. The kind of care Selene offers is not theatrical. It is durable because it is simple. Each small repetition presses into the body like a coin on soft wax, making a mark that will last. Over time, the marks add up. The moon's repeated tilt becomes a reassurance as reliable as the seasons. The beloved does not need to understand all of the mythic bones of the thing. He only needs to register the sequence of night after night, and to allow his body to remember what that sequence feels like. There is a moment, subtle rather than dramatic, where ritual and body meet and settlement happens. The moon presses a light that is both thin and intimate, and the sleeper, trained by habit, yields. The shoulders drop a few degrees. The face becomes more unburdened. Breath becomes a slow, oceanic movement. To watch it would be like watching a shoreline after a storm deciding to accept new sand. There is no sudden silence, but a rhythm that grows steadier until the chaos is no longer noticeable. In that steadiness, sleep is not imposed. It arrives with the same quiet certainty as the moon. Selene, after her vigil, does not linger for acclaim. She moves with the soft etiquette of one who has attended and now withdraws. Her light folds back into the palm of the sky. The thin road across the water narrows, and stars reassert their gentle pinpricks of company. The world exhales. The tide resumes its patient counting. The small noises of night go about their work, less conspicuous now because they have been held by light. For the one beneath the moon, the night's work is done. Muscles rest, breath maintains its slow, calm arc, and the body rests against the memory of repeated care. There is something almost ritualistic in the way the day and night converse in that final hour. Where day has insisted on tasks, night suggests forgetting. Where day has expected action, night permits the unravel. To be permitted is, in its own modest way, to be held. Selene's permission is not a spoken command. It is the result of a routine of attention that the body learns to answer. You can imagine those moments of letting go as small folds in a map, a hand closing, a lid resting, a book gently set down. The map is not the destination, it is the record of the journey. As she ascends again, threading her way back across the vault to take up her ordinary seat, the world she has touched remains altered but only slightly, as if someone has turned a dial towards softness. The next morning the light will be different. Sunlight has its own insistence and tasks. But for a while, for those who slept beneath her silver, there is an archive of calm that the body may return to again and again. Memory in this sense is not a story told by the lips, but a repository in the muscles and the breath, a ledger of small, trusted things. If you have followed Selene this long, you might let the rhythm of her return guide you now. Breathe with that slow, tide-like tempo. Allow the image of the hand of the moon at the edge of the sky to rest behind your eyes. Imagine a single thin stream of silver finding the outline of your face, tracing where it will be noticed and where it will not. Let the parts of your body that have held a tense fold softly, one after another. There is no hurry in this movement. There is only the patient work of repetition and the knowledge that some presences come precisely so that release is possible. When you wake, if you awake, you may find the echo of this story still in the muscles around your shoulders, or in the length of a pause between breaths. There are many nights ahead, and many small returns. Selene will come again, as she always has, with the same quiet gestures to teach the world how to receive rest. If you would like more stories shaped like this, soft, mythic visits that move slowly toward sleep, you may find a playlist of them and a place to follow for more gentle retellings. For now, let the hand of the moon at the edge of the sky be the last thing you carry into the dark.